Hey there everyone, my name's Andrew and this is Canadian Starships. Welcome back to update number 5 on the Nova Class project update. This project is being done for the Trek Yards build contest. And I just heard today that they have chosen a new deadline for project completion, which is going to be July 30th. So everything has to be done. Pictures have to be taken and uploaded to the Trek Yards Model Builder Showcase page by July 30th, no later. So we've got 2 months to get this done. The push is on. Between updates, I have gotten some more work done on the nacelles. I did a live stream on Sunday. That went really well. If any of you joined me for that, thank you so much. I will be doing more live streams, probably Sunday evenings, so make sure that you keep an eye out for that. And if you haven't done so, make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of that, and make sure that you hit the notification bell. That way YouTube should notify you anytime that I go live or update, post a video. So make sure that you do that right now. Go. Yeah. It's just right there. Go do it right now. Okay, great. Perfect. Thanks. So this update, I really want to get things rolling. So I have some goals. Now, as always, the goals don't necessarily work out. I don't necessarily get all the work done that I want to get done. Plus, there's some projects around the house that are coming up that are going to have to be done. We are replacing all the wood planks on our deck outside. I am going to actually, and this is model related. I've decided to order all the parts that I need to do it. I'm going to build a screen to go on my garage door so that I can open it up at nighttime and not have to worry about any bugs coming in. Because one of the reasons I want to have it open is so I can get painting done and have a well-ventilated space. And the best time that I have to do any of the work on my models is after my little one has gone to bed at nighttime. So the issue with doing that is all the lights are on, paint going, bugs coming in. 1, biting me, that's a no-go, but 2, they'll get into the paint. So I want to avoid that. So I'm going to make for myself a screen to cover the entire garage door so I can open it up, have great ventilation, and not have to worry about the bugs coming in. But I'm going to try not to get sidetracked by that too much because the push is on for this project. So the nacelle pylons, I will show you, not the pylons, but the nacelles themselves, I'll show you the work I've done. The bottoms are both primed on the outside and they have the light blocking coats on the inside. It's been really hot here the last couple of days, so it's been great for painting multiple layers in a day outside. The upper section, upper half of the nacelles, I got the inside of the Bizarre collectors and the chiller grills masked off, and I was able to get the light blocking coats on the inside, and they are sitting just behind the camera right now, and they on the outside they've got their adhesion promoter coat on. So my next task with them is to spray on the Alclad blue and red for the chillers and the Bizarre collectors respectfully. I'm going to put those layers on first, then mask them off and do the rest of the painting that I need to do. So once I get those masked off, those masks will not come off until the project is completely painted. So that's going to be really exciting to get moving on to some of that work. My other goal for this update is to get the refinement finally completed on the other parts, get those nacelle pylons installed, and get the lighting started on this project. I also want to get the hole drilled for the base and get that mounting mechanism installed so that I can start getting it onto the post, get it onto the base, and that's going to be fun to see that come together. So those are my goals to get done in the 2 weeks that this update video is hopefully going to cover. So let's get right at that now. As promised, I've got a bit of a showing of the nacelles. So the inside has got all of its light blocking coats. So you can see underneath the clear is the black coat for light blocking. There's 2 coats of black, and then on the inside you see the 2 coats of white there. And you can see that the Bizarres and the chiller grills have been properly masked off so that light will only come through those sections. So my next task is to mask the nacelles so that roughly only the area of the chiller grills is shown. I'm going to put down the Alclad blue onto that with the airbrush. One of the nacelles has been masked off, the other one still needs to be done. I decided to try to mask as close to the chiller grill as I could to avoid as much overspray as possible. It's not a big deal on this particular pass of paint because the meticulous masking needs to be done when I paint the exterior of the hull on it. So I'll be creating a mask to go in on the chiller grill to protect the blue paint that's going in there right now. So just need to get the second one masked, and I'm getting the airbrush out.
The next two clips were actually recorded during my live stream on Sunday night, so the quality and the look is going to be a little bit different. If you're interested in coming to one of my live streams, check them out Sunday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern Time.
Just in the middle of a live stream, and everybody who's on the live stream is watching this as I record this, but I've been working on getting the model attached to the post, and I've got just a little bit of a mock-up to see what it's going to look like. And I agree with most people in the chat that say that it really needs to have a shorter post. So that's going to be dealt with and taken care of. But this is how it's going to look. I've just finished drilling the initial hole for the post. And we've just had a conversation in the chat. I was wondering about a pressure fit here, but the consensus is definitely file it down a little bit and do the mounting system that I talked about earlier. So, but I thought it would be cool just to see how this is looking as it might look on the stand. Obviously, there's no nacelles on it, that kind of thing. It looks like it's relatively, I'll just take a look. Yeah, it's got a fairly level line on it, and I think it'll sit quite nicely. I'll need to make sure that it's all level once I get the wood inside. So my next job here is going to be filing the hole just a little bit so that the pole freely moves in and out and will attach to the wood that's going to be inside for the post. Showed you earlier that there is an air bubble in the upper nacelle part on one of the pieces that I was working on, and you can see it right there. You can see the air bubble really well under this lighting. So I've just done a recast, and I am very happy with the way this has come out. It's really hard to see a clear part on the camera, but I've done a quick look over it, and I am not seeing too much that's going to have to be done in the refinement process. Obviously, once I get some gray primer on it, then any little any pits or divots or air bubbles will show up really well, and I'll be able to take care of those. But looking especially, let's see if I can get in a little bit closer, especially on the chiller grills and the Bizarre collectors, it doesn't look like there's anything in there that's going to cause me any problem. So I am really happy with the way that this piece came out. So like the last piece, I'm going to mask it off. I'm going to get the light blocking done on the inside. I'm going to get the Alclad on the outside, and then we will move forward along with the other one that is already in process. What you see before you is the culmination of a whole pile of work tonight. Doesn't look like a lot, but trust me, this has taken me quite a while. I'm working on R&D for the mount support structure inside the bottom half of the ship. So originally I was thinking that I would take a small piece of wood like this. It's been trimmed off on the edges, and it would mount, be epoxied in here. There would be a smaller piece underneath with a hole the size for the
post to go through, and then a smaller hole through the top piece that wires would come through. But I was thinking that that just simply wouldn't be robust enough to be fail safe. So what I've done is I've basically used the same method, and I've created it out of metal. And so these are two pieces of metal. They've been soldered together. Hopefully that's going to be good enough. I've tried separating it. Nothing can separate that. So that is pretty good. That is a large aperture with a small one inside. So essentially the post, when it goes into the ship, is going to settle in here and just get a little bit of added stability at the top. It's going to have stability coming through the actual model itself, but I just wanted a little bit of a berthing area up there for it to be kind of settled into, just to give it some lateral movement support. And then the smaller aperture at the top for wires to come through, and that's going to be epoxied in place. So I think that is going to be much more robust than the wood option. Well, she's on the stand. Not permanently on the stand, but on the stand nonetheless. So I have the internal mounting bracket fully installed. And it's sitting fairly level. I think once the nacelles are on, it will sit perfectly level to the base, just with the center of gravity, which is really nice. So I'm going to take the top off and show you that mounting bracket in there. So here's the interior showing the bracket installed. So I actually avoided the soldering of the two metal parts together because it came apart. And the two metal parts have now been epoxied together, and it has been epoxied as a whole into the kit. So that should be really nice and secure. Did a live stream on Sunday, and some of the feedback during the live stream in the chat prompted some new ideas about how I might want to mount the pylons onto the ship. And so the pylons will just go in here, the wires will go through and be connected on the inside. So the idea that I came up with, just from chatting and from different ideas spurring other ideas, is to clear out the full channel in here where the pylon attaches, and I would epoxy the pylon from the inside, and that should give it a really good, secure attachment to the main ship. I had to do some work to clear out the areas that I had created for the wires, because it wasn't quite getting the wire feed in with the shrink tube on the joint point, and I had to do some additional work to get the nacelle bottom onto the pylon, because I realized that it'd be easier to work on that fit while the pylon is not attached to the ship. So I'm going to keep this attached. It's just a pressure fit at the moment. That way I can deal with the alignment of the nacelle to the pylon, make sure it's nice and even. And the idea for epoxying the pylon from the inside came when I was looking at this and realized I can epoxy this from the inside as well, the nacelle to the pylon, once I have everything in place and once I have the alignment perfect. So that is what I'm working on now. I just took my smallest, well, not quite my smallest bit, but one of my smaller bits in my power drill, cordless drill, and drilled out the sections on both sides. So now that's what it looks like. And I'm just going to go in with my number 11 blade and clean that out so it's a nice clean slot all the way across. And when I attach the pylon, that'll give me a really good attachment point when I epoxy that in. The mounting slot for the nacelle pylon has been completely cleaned out on both sides. So I am finally to the point where I can start installing one of the nacelle pylons. I'm going to install it, and then I will line the other one up to match. So that's pretty exciting. I'm just going to show you the other side is done, and there it is from the inside. She somewhat got one nacelle pylon attached. Now that nacelle itself is not permanently affixed, it's just pressure fit for the moment. Now there is a fair bit of refinement work that's going to need to be done where the pylon joins with the ship. There was a little bit of epoxy leak, and so I'm going to have to clean that up, but don't worry, I'm going to be able to deal with that. Just trying to give you a couple views here. Let's see if I can pan it around to the back. Pan around to the back a little bit more. And I'm manually focusing this so that you get a really good clear image. So, first one is attached. And yeah, there is going to be a fair bit of cleanup work to do, but that is part of the process. This is still in the ugly, unrefined stage at the moment. This is actually a bit of a better view. I've got the camera up a little higher, and you can see if I zoom really in here, you can see how it's attached. You can even see a little bit of the mess that's been made, again, which I will clean up while I do all the other refinements. So I'm really happy with that. The nacelle itself is not attached, is not aligned. There's going to be a fair bit of alignment work that's done when I attach the nacelles permanently, but it is just there right now as a guide for me. And one more really nice view from even higher up on the ship. I'll zoom in, and you'll get a really good look at how rough that is at the moment. Well, with the first nacelle on, that is all the progress I'm going to make in this update video. I'm really pleased with how it's coming along. Time is really ticking away, though. I'm starting to worry a little bit that I'll get it done in time for the Trek Yards contest, but I will do my very best to make sure that it is done. In other news, we have some really cool news as a family. My wife and I are expecting our second little one in December, just after Christmas time. So that's going to be really exciting. That also means that I'm really hoping that my Enterprise E project is going to be done before our next child arrives, because as soon as you get a brand new baby, your time is completely gone and your sleep is completely gone and your complete focus is on that little one. So I'm really hoping that that's going to be done before they come along. Now that also means that my attendance at Wonderfest, when it's been rescheduled in October, is a little bit more in question. You see, the Canadian-American border still isn't open, and the Canadian government is being very cautious about opening it because of the amount of COVID-19 that is present in the US compared to Canada. Also, when you're pregnant, you are at more risk with COVID-19. And so if there is still a fair bit of COVID-19 in the United States, I may not go so that I don't risk bringing it back, and it wouldn't be great to have to self-isolate for 14 days. So I will have to make a decision as of, I think it's like something like September 24th, whether or not I will be going to Wonderfest so that I can get my money back on the hotel booking. But as of right now, my plan is to go if everything works out. So I'm really excited for that. With the Nova Class project, I'm going to work on getting the second pylon installed between updates. I don't want to worry about videoing stuff while I'm trying to get that aligned with the first pylon. So my goal was to get that first pylon installed and then make sure that it's aligned as best as I could get it, and then install and align the second pylon to match the first. And then when I go to put the nacelles on top of the pylons, I will look at leveling those independently so that they are nice and straight and everything looks the way it is supposed to. Like I said, there's a lot of cleanup to do where the pylon joins with the hull. There was a little bit of epoxy leak out of the seam, which I'll have to sand down and touch up, but that's part of the process and I'm looking forward to it. So I hope that you have enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure that you hit the like button. If you're new to my channel or you haven't done so yet, why not hit that subscribe button today? You'll make me very happy if you do. It's just right down there. But for now, this has been Andrew. This is Canadian Starships.
Have a great day, everyone.